Netflix waited to release The Witcher Season 4 trailer till a month before it actually premiered on Netflix. The first look that everyone got at Liam Hemsworth replacing Henry Cavill as Geralt. You knew that they knew it was going to be a monumental disaster.
I have always looked at fan reactions, whether they be fully supportive or negative or aggressive or whatever they may be, as passion. Fans are just passionate. I'm a fan.
They're promoting it all that much because here it is, Season 4 for The Witcher. Not looking good so far when it comes to the reviews. When it comes to the critics, right now they're at 55%. But when it comes to the fans, 19% on Rotten Tomatoes. That starting point is not good for this show. And we knew that Season 4 was going to be a disaster. We knew why Henry Cavill left. We knew because they had desecrated the lore and like everything that people love from the books, from the games. That's not what this TV show is about.
The Witcher Season 4 trailer didn't just drop, it detonated. Within hours, timelines were flooded, hashtags were trending, and fans were in open revolt. It wasn't just another internet outrage cycle. It was the moment a fandom officially broke. What was supposed to reignite excitement for the series instead turned into a full-blown crisis for Netflix. Comments were brutal, reactions relentless, and one question kept echoing across every platform. What happened to The Witcher? At the center of the storm stood Liam Hemsworth, the new face of Geralt of Rivia, and for many, the face of everything that had gone wrong. Fans weren't just upset about a recast, they were furious about what it symbolized. Some felt betrayed, others nostalgic, and a few clung to hope that the show could still find its magic. But as the trailer spread and the backlash exploded, it became clear.
We knew that Witcher Season 4 was going to be a monumental disaster years ago when they announced that Henry Cavill was leaving the show to be replaced by Liam Hemsworth. And let's face it, the show was already dead and buried in the dirt because of the actions of the showrunner and the writers and the people at Netflix that control the show. Henry Cavill warned everybody. Henry Cavill argued with them. Henry Cavill made it very clear that he was not happy with how they portrayed his character and the entire universe within The Witcher because it went against the books and it went against the games. They were not following the lore, and he knew what fans wanted. That's why he fucking left. So we knew years ago that this was going to be a nightmare. But that nightmare is very, very close to a reality now for Netflix.
This wasn't going to be an ordinary controversy. This was the kind of fan revolt that could end a franchise. And as the dust settled, one thing was obvious. Netflix had no idea what it had unleashed. It started innocently enough. A 2-minute teaser dropped on YouTube, set to a dark remix of Toss a Coin to Your Witcher. For a moment, fans were hyped. The visuals looked crisp, the monsters terrifying, and the world felt as grim and grounded as ever. But then, just 40 seconds in, there he was, Liam Hemsworth, stepping out of the shadows as the new Geralt. And instantly, everything changed. The comment section ignited like wildfire. Hashtag #NotMyGeralt started trending within an hour, followed closely by hashtag Cavill was right. What should have been a victory lap for the show's marketing team became an online disaster. The trailer wasn't just criticized, it was dissected, mocked, and memed into oblivion.
It's about the activist showrunners and the activists at Netflix doing what they want with the character, regardless of whether that's in line with what everyone else loves. We saw Lauren Schmidt-Hissrich say this in the lead-up. Geralt is a little funnier this season. He's a little more dry. He's also a lot more emotional. He's going through a lot of different things than we've seen in the past. That's what everybody wants. An emotional Geralt. It's exactly what everyone's looking for. And then, of course, what she also said in response to the backlash, no one's taking the books away. No one's taking the video games away. Everyone can have their version of The Witcher. Well, Gary put this on blast, understandably so. Women cast as female showrunner of a male-skewing franchise, shocked that no one wants to watch her feminist fan fiction version of Witcher.
Even neutral viewers could feel it. Something about the energy had shifted. Cavill's Geralt had carried a certain weight, a quiet intensity. Hemsworth's portrayal, fair or not, was instantly labeled too polished, too Hollywood, and too safe. And as fans replayed the trailer in slow motion, comparing every line, every glare, every sword swing, one thing became clear. The problem wasn't just the actor, it was what he represented. A version of The Witcher that no longer felt like The Witcher. When the first behind-the-scenes clips started circulating, the tension only got worse. Liam's Geralt looked fine, but fine wasn't good enough for fans who had watched Henry Cavill pour his soul into every line of dialogue, every fight, every moment of lore. Cavill had become synonymous with Geralt because he wasn't just acting, he was living the role. He knew the books, quoted the lore, and even corrected the writers when they strayed too far from the source. Liam Hemsworth, by contrast, walked into an impossible situation. No matter how committed he was replacing a fan-favorite actor who had essentially become the character. But instead of sympathy, the internet came armed with knives. Memes mocked his expressions, edits replaced his face with Cavill's, and fans flooded comment sections demanding the real Geralt back. It wasn't fair, but in the world of fandoms, fairness rarely matters. And then came the interviews. Liam tried to stay upbeat, calling the opportunity an honor, but his words felt rehearsed. Some fans said it sounded like corporate PR, not passion. Others accused him of taking the role for a paycheck. Within days, the narrative was set. Liam wasn't the hero stepping into a legacy, he was the intruder, replacing one. And whether or not it was true, that perception was deadly. Then came the moment that took the internet from irritated to furious. During a podcast interview, Liam tried to address the criticism head-on. He said something meant to sound strong. Maybe the people complaining the loudest were never true fans to begin with. Within minutes, that quote exploded online. Out of context, it sounded like he was calling fans fake, and the fandom didn't forgive that easily. Clips of the quote were everywhere. TikToks, YouTube edits, Twitter threads, all painting Liam as arrogant and disconnected. Within hours, hashtags calling for a boycott began trending again. Netflix's PR team reportedly went silent, canceling a planned Reddit AMA and delaying interviews. Inside the company, it was panic mode. What was meant to be a fresh start for The Witcher had become a PR disaster. And the worst part? Liam wasn't entirely wrong. Many of the harshest critics had moved on after Cavill left, but that didn't matter anymore. The damage was done, the clip had gone viral, and the internet had found its new villain. But that wasn't the end, because what came next would turn frustration into all-out rebellion. At first, it looked like a typical wave of internet outrage, loud, dramatic, and destined to fade. But the Witcher fandom wasn't like most fan bases. They didn't just complain, they mobilized. Within hours of the Season 4 trailer, the hashtag #NotMyGeralt transformed from a trend into a movement. Reddit threads exploded with thousands of comments dissecting every frame of the teaser. Fans analyzed sword stances, voice tone, even the tilt of Liam's head compared to Cavill's. It wasn't mockery anymore. It was a mission to prove that Netflix had broken something sacred. Then came the edits. Hundreds of fans began uploading side-by-side comparisons of Cavill's most iconic scenes against Liam's trailer shots. Others went even further, using AI to replace Liam's face with Henry's, creating restored versions of the trailer that instantly went viral. These weren't simple memes, they were digital protests. Fans were essentially saying, if you won't give us Cavill, we'll bring him back ourselves. Some of those videos racked up millions of views overnight. Even people who had never watched The Witcher before were suddenly curious. How could a casting change spark a rebellion this intense? Influencers and pop culture channels smelled blood in the water. YouTubers began uploading breakdowns with titles like "The Witcher fandom just declared war on Netflix" and "Cavill's exit, the beginning of the end." TikTok creators joined in, stitching scenes with dramatic music and captions like "The moment the magic died." What had started as fan frustration had turned into a full-blown digital riot. The energy was chaotic, raw, and unstoppable. Meanwhile, on Twitter, the tone grew darker. Some users organized boycott campaigns under the banner "Don't stream Season 4." Others began resurfacing old Cavill interviews where he defended the source material, using his words as rallying cries. A quote from one of his past interviews, "The lore is what makes The Witcher great," became a viral meme, shared like scripture across the fandom. It wasn't just nostalgia anymore, it was vindication. And the movement wasn't limited to angry posts. Artists began drawing what-if posters featuring Cavill's Geralt standing atop a burning Netflix logo, swords crossed, with the tagline, "Destiny can't be recast." Fanfiction writers published new stories imagining alternate seasons where Geralt stayed true to the books. Even cosplayers got involved. Some refused to wear Season 4-inspired costumes, choosing instead to honor Cavill's Geralt by recreating his earlier looks from Season 1 and 2. It no longer was a fan base, it was a resistance. Netflix at first tried to ignore it. Official accounts kept posting polished promo images, avoiding any mention of the controversy. But the silence only made things worse. Every post, no matter how harmless, was instantly hijacked by thousands of angry comments. Hashtag #BringBackCavill. You lost the fans. This isn't The Witcher anymore. The marketing department reportedly turned off comments on several platforms just to contain the flood. But you can't mute a movement. By now, even mainstream outlets started covering the chaos. Entertainment blogs described the fan base as mutinous. Others compared the situation to the Sonic the Hedgehog redesign fiasco, except this time, it wasn't about CGI. It was about heart. Fans weren't asking for special effects, they were asking for respect. What made this revolt so unique was how organized it became. Discord servers emerged where fans coordinated hashtags and mass downvotes. One Reddit thread with over 100,000 upvotes listed every inaccuracy from the trailer, from costume design to character tone. It wasn't trolling, it was documentation. These fans saw themselves as archivists of authenticity, preserving what Netflix had forgotten. And through all this chaos, something remarkable happened. People who hadn't talked about The Witcher in years started coming back, not to watch, but to defend the memory of what it used to be. That's when Netflix realized the true scale of the problem. This wasn't a fleeting controversy, it was a cultural stand. By the time the premiere date neared, the fan revolt had morphed into a full-scale rebellion. The internet had spoken, and it wasn't just rejecting a trailer. It was rejecting the idea that passion could be replaced with marketing polish. The Witcher fandom had split in two, those ready to give the new version a chance, and those who swore they'd never forgive what was taken from them. And as the view counts rose and the boycotts gained traction, one thing became clear. This wasn't just about Geralt. It was about ownership, authenticity, and what happens when fans realize they have more power than the studio that made them.
To understand why the Witcher fandom reacted the way it did, you have to understand Henry Cavill. Not the movie star, not Superman, but the man behind Geralt of Rivia. Cavill didn't just play a role, he lived it. Every line he delivered, every movement, every glare felt like it came from someone who understood the soul of the story. That wasn't an accident. Cavill was a lifelong fan of Andrzej Sapkowski's books. He'd played The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt long before Netflix ever considered adapting it. He reportedly chased the role with relentless passion, calling the producers again and again until they gave him a shot. For him, this wasn't just another job, it was destiny. From the very first episode, you could see it. Cavill's Geralt wasn't flashy or overacted. He was controlled, haunted, powerful. The way he moved through a fight, the subtle pauses between grunts and words, it was methodical. Fans could tell. This was a man who respected the material. Cavill's love for the lore became legendary. During interviews, he'd correct journalists and even gently call out the show's own writers when they twisted canon too far. For fans, that was everything. Here was an A-list actor who didn't just show up for the paycheck, he protected the story. But behind the scenes, tensions grew. Reports began surfacing that Cavill clashed with the writing team, pushing for faithfulness to the source, while others wanted to modernize the tone. Some insiders claimed he was difficult, while others said he was just standing his ground. When he finally announced he was leaving after Season 3, it didn't feel like a normal exit. It felt like a warning. The internet lit up with speculation. Had he walked because of scheduling conflicts, or because he couldn't watch the story he loved being reshaped into something unrecognizable? The official statements were polite, but fans weren't buying it. They sensed a deeper fracture, a creative betrayal that drove out the one person who truly cared about The Witcher's legacy. And then came the silence. Cavill didn't badmouth Netflix. He didn't shade the writers. He just left. That silence was deafening. It became a symbol, a quiet rebellion that said more than any interview ever could. When the Season 4 trailer dropped without him, fans didn't just see a new Geralt. They saw the void he left behind. Edits comparing scenes of Cavill and Hemsworth went viral. In one clip, Cavill's Geralt stands bloodied, whispering, "Destiny is calling," while Liam's version repeats the same line. But something's missing. The weight, the weariness, the truth. The top comment under that video summed it up perfectly. You can change the face, but you can't fake the soul. And maybe that's why the backlash became so personal. Fans weren't just defending an actor, they were defending a standard. Henry represented what happens when someone truly loves the story they're part of. His authenticity became a mirror for everything the fandom cherished: loyalty, depth, passion. So when he was replaced, it wasn't just about Geralt. It was about the loss of belief. The moment Cavill left, the magic that once made The Witcher feel alive started to fade. In an age where franchises rise and fall on fan trust, Cavill's legacy became something bigger than the show. He became the embodiment of integrity, the actor who cared when others didn't. And even though he's moved on, his shadow still lingers over every frame of Season 4. Because no matter how stunning the visuals or how epic the monsters, the audience can feel what's missing. Cavill didn't just play The Witcher, he was The Witcher. And the day he walked away, it felt like Geralt walked away with him.
Behind the scenes, chaos. Reports surfaced of emergency meetings at Netflix headquarters after the trailer backlash. Marketing teams were ordered to reframe promotional material, focusing less on Liam and more on the epic scoop of the world. The company even delayed press junkets, hoping the storm would calm down. It didn't. Leaked internal memos allegedly described the situation as brand erosion. Translation: fans didn't trust them anymore. The early reviews of Season 4 only made things worse. Beautiful visuals, sure, but soulless storytelling. Critics called it technically flawless, emotionally empty. The studio's PR strategy shifted overnight. Nostalgia posts about Cavill suddenly reappeared on official channels, as if trying to tap into the love they'd already lost. But it was too late. The fandom saw through it. And then, just when things couldn't get worse, Liam posted something that reignited the chaos. A week before the premiere, Liam uploaded a cryptic Instagram story. Just black text on a blank background. Real change doesn't come easy. Within minutes, screenshots spread everywhere. Was it about the backlash? The show? His personal life? No one knew, but everyone had an opinion. Some fans took it as defiance. Others said it was a desperate cry for support. Either way, the timing was suspicious. The message came right after leaked reviews called Season 4 a shadow of its former self. Suddenly, the internet was back on fire. Then the show dropped, and the reactions were brutal. Some viewers said the writing felt off, and others claimed it lacked heart. A few defended Liam's effort, but even they admitted the magic was gone. What was supposed to be a new chapter for The Witcher ended up feeling like an epilogue, and a painful one. But underneath the outrage and memes, a bigger question began to surface. This wasn't just about one actor or even one show. It was about something deeper, the relationship between fans and the franchises they love. In today's world, fandoms don't just consume, they protect. They see these stories as part of their identity, and when corporations treat them like replaceable audiences, the backlash is swift and unforgiving. Netflix learned that the hard way. You can swap actors, change tone, even rewrite lore, but you can't fake authenticity. The Witcher didn't lose fans because of a trailer. It lost them because it forgot what made them care in the first place. And maybe that's the real tragedy here. Because once a fandom feels betrayed, there's no marketing campaign, no apology, and no recast that can bring that trust back. As one viral comment put it best, Cavill didn't just leave the show, he took the soul of The Witcher with him.